Happy Manga Monday! It is officially the last day of September, the day that this video is going up. And to celebrate the coming month of October and all that entails, the true beginning of fall where I live, and all these spooky, scary skeletons, I wanted to talk about some first volumes that really, I think, encapsulate those Halloween vibes. So if you were looking for a newer title to pick up this season, maybe one of these will perk your interest, and you may have even already read some of these, and I am so curious to hear what you thought of them down below in the comments. As always, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. And if you like first volume reviews like this one, please hit that thumbs up so I know that I can keep making this kind of content. And yeah, I'm just embracing those Halloween vibes. I managed to snag this Nightmare Before Christmas shirt from Five Below. I threw on some questionably spooky autumnal vibe makeup. I don't really know what I was thinking because I don't think the two go together, but it's okay. We're moving past it. I'm embracing it. But yeah, let's just dive in with, I think, like, we'll dive in with the softer ones first, like the more wholesome slice of life fantasy content before we get to two darker ones. And yeah, this first one I snagged for half off at my local manga store, and that is The Skull Dragon's Precious Daughter. This one was an unexpected favorite of mine. I honestly bought it on a whim because I was like kind of looking for another possible manga to talk about for this video. And when I was in the store earlier this month, I saw it and I was like, oh, well, what's the harm? At least it's half off. And I really, really loved it. Like, it was so stinking cute and wholesome and just gave you those found family cozy vibes, and just 5 out of 5 stars. This was like a great cozy fall read for me. And yeah, so it follows this young girl, Eve, when she is abandoned in this forest that is where all the unwanted beings are discarded. And she's taken in by this elderly dragon who tries to teach her some skills and, you know, keep her alive because he is sadly nearing the end of his life. However, we find out that Eve is not so ready to say goodbye yet, and that she found a book on magic and is apparently a witch because she manages to bring her dragon back, and in this new kind of skeletonized body. And it's just like, it gave me it hit me in the feels right away with that, and their interactions, their relationship is just so sweet and lovely, and I really enjoy them. And then when Eve goes into the nearest town and that he is willing to stay with her in this new form to, you know, kind of guide her in life a little longer, it's just, come on, that's so sweet. And the art really adds to it. Eve is so cute, and then it adds to your, at least to my enjoyment of Eve. You just wanted to protect her and squeeze her little cheeks, and she's so cute. But yeah, we gotta go into the nearest town and help Eve to become a witch who can actually use her magic well, because she is kind of all over the place with it and she's just starting out. And yeah, so they actually end up kind of befriending a sketchy type of innkeeper guy. He definitely has seemingly his own set of interesting powers or abilities and is eager to use Eve to his own best benefit. But in the meantime, Eve is practicing being a witch in this town, helping people and doing other sort of practice with her magic, I suppose, in these kind of side quests. And yeah, it's just, I don't know if it will get more deep or layered as the story progresses, but right now it just gave very wholesome slice of life learning to be a witch energy with this very supernatural, fantastical, found family at its center. I'm rooting for the innkeeper to be part of the little family. I think, you know, I think it'd be sweet. But yeah, they just go really well together and play off each other well. And yeah, it's a good time. I would recommend it as just a nice, charming little fantasy tale to start this video off with. So the other more slice of life, a wholesome fantasy tale that I have for you all did in fact come out this year, and that is Arya of the Beech Forest. So yes, this really did give atmospheric fantasy vibes, and it was one of those ones where I took my time like looking at the art and just like absorbing the vibes, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it, but like it's just one of those vibey books where it's just like you feel like you get sucked into the story and the world, and it's just so quaint and sweet and yeah, charming. So I really have to say the atmosphere and the vibes were on point in this one. And yeah, I had a really nice time with this one as well, I have to say. So we find ourselves in another forest. This time our young witch is named Arya, and she sadly is spending her days alone growing herbs and knitting after her beloved grandmother has passed, until one winter morning she encounters a white wolf collapsed in the snow outside of her house. This mysterious beast not only talks, but surprisingly, he also asks to live with her for a little. Could this be the start of a big change for the small, lonely witch? And yeah, it just really does show Arya start opening up and kind of branching out, meets a couple new people. And yeah, it's interesting because we see there's more going on in this world than first meets the eye when you begin the story, and I'm very interested how that will play out in the bigger picture, because I do really enjoy the quaint little cozy vibes we have going on with Arya off in this forest. So I'm intrigued as to like how I'll feel about the story as it goes on and maybe integrates Arya more into the wide world. But for now, I really enjoyed this one. Again, we have very enjoyable art to look at. Cozy, charming, fantasy abound. Although Arya struggles, it seems, to really do magic question mark, but it's very sweet, it's very wholesome, and it just, like I said, it gives you those like very cozy witchy vibes, and what's more perfect than that this time of year? Now we'll scooch a little darker. I wouldn't say this title is super duper dark or anything, but it deals more with the supernatural and the ghosty ghost side of things, and has a little bit of a maybe BL vibe to it. I do think it was put out as like a hey, supernatural BL, but just so everyone knows, there's really not much BLing going on yet, but I have hopes. And that is My Noisy Roommate. The roof over my head comes with monsters and a hottie. Sign me up. But this down on his luck kid, Osuke, finds himself basically out on the street after some disastrous events unfold at his old apartment. And so he's really not in a position to refuse when a supposed real estate agent, although shady he may be, approaches him and offers him a cheap, nice place to live. However, the cheap, nice accommodations come with a few caveats. And one of them is the drop-dead gorgeous blonde guy named Nijio, who is going to be living with him from now on. And the other is the fact that the house might actually be haunted. And Osuke is finding out he may be a magnet for all things supernatural. And yeah, so they actually team up and kind of, I wouldn't say exorcise these ghosts, but they try to come to some arrangement with the ghosts, and then if need be, have to exorcise them. And one of them, Osuke, is kind of like what do you call it? Like a dowsing rod. Like he like attracts the lightning rod or whatever, some kind of rod that attracts all the supernatural, a supernatural rod, if you will. And then the hot blonde Nigio, he is actually the one that's able to then deal with the supernatural entities and has like actual supernatural powers. So yeah, they make for an interesting team. It's very much giving that like reluctant roommates to friends and maybe more, question mark. I definitely picked it up because I saw something about BL, so I am not counting it out. But kind of like Keiyaku with the like cool gangster mystery murder stuff going on, it doesn't really lean too heavily on the actual BL part so far in this first volume. But I did go ahead and pre-order the second volume. I do not think it's coming out till next year, sadly. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one as well. It's a little slow paced, you know, definite slow burn energy going on here. But even just like the inciting incidents are kind of slowly built up. And then we kind of like get really into the meat and potatoes of the story. And I always love a good, you know, supernatural twist, a little haunting mischief to my stories and fantasy to my romance. So yeah, I have high hopes for this one. I really hope it's what I'm expecting and what I like think will come out of it, but we shall see. However, I think if you like things supernatural and don't mind if it goes in a BL trajectory, which you shouldn't because BL's great, then I definitely think you should check this one out if you haven't already, so you can enjoy some spooky fun this month. Next up, we have one that this is the oldest one that again I found at my manga store for half off. So I said, hey, I'd been curious about this one, but the reason I hadn't picked it up yet is because spoilers. It's sadly completed 3 volumes and it's unanimous online. It should not have completed in 3 volumes. So it's kind of one of those sadly axed before its time, which after reading this first volume, it's a freaking travesty. Like I could read 40 volumes of this. Like, I don't know why. I am just like, I am there. I am in it. I am disappointed. It might be in a new disappointed video eventually. But yeah, so far I've only read this first volume, and that is The Hunters Guild Red Hood. So this is a Shonen Jump title, so you know what you're expecting in this one. We got action, adventure, mystery, and intrigue that sadly won't really probably go anywhere. But yeah, there's lots of action, kind of like bloody, so you know, strap in for the more, you know, darker side of the fantasy supernatural series now. And yeah, I mean, obviously it's still rated teen, so it's not like horribly gruesome or anything, but you know, just so you're prepared. But yeah, this story takes place in a kind of fairy tale world where there are werewolves, witches, and monsters, and the only ones that are kind of really able to take care of these supernatural creatures are the Hunters Guild, and they are the very selective agency that is dispatched for a fee to come and save the people from these monsters. So in a very small isolated hamlet, one particular village finds themselves in such dire straits with its people being attacked by a werewolf that they enlist the guild's help. And that is when a boy named Velu, who wants nothing more to protect his beloved neighbors, meets Grim, who is the hunter, and she appears as a very small little girl and not much to take in, so everyone's a bit skeptical of what this girl can actually do for them, if this little kid, essentially is what it looks like, can kill the werewolf. And we see that this werewolf threat is actually a lot bigger of a threat than it first appeared. And it's very interesting because it definitely sets up a lot of mysteries and a twist at the end that I really didn't see coming. Definitely not going to give that away, but I was surprised. So Velu ends up accepting to go into the Hunters Guild, which is like essentially hunter levels of like really, really hard to pass the test. I'm like not a huge training arc person, but I am very curious to learn more about the new eclectic characters that have been introduced, and I want to know the answers to the mysteries and stuff. It's just all a little tainted by the fact that we know it is complete at 3 volumes and that complete is one of those, you know, short series, unfortunately, is really incomplete. It sounded from the reviews I read that people are disappointed, obviously, but they seem to think they did an okay job tying it up. So we'll see. I obviously am going to get the other 2 volumes. I thought volume 1 was really good, really gripped to me. I really liked Velu and Grimm. Think they could be a fun pairing. But yeah, I enjoy a good shonen. So yeah, let me know if you've read it, how you felt. Obviously, like, don't give any spoilers away, just overall feelings. But I'm sure the consensus is we wish we had more. I just think it had so much promise with this really intriguing premise and all these mysterious pieces. And yeah. But I'm excited to see what we do get out of this series beyond this first volume. Now we move into the truly dark, twisted, and depraved, horrifying section of the dark fantasy and dark horror in general. So if that's not your cup of tea, I totally get it. I hope you enjoyed the rest of these manga selections. And if you are like me and you like a little bit of both, then I hope you're excited to hear about our next first volume. We are going full dark fantasy. This is definitely heavier in tone. It has action, but it is way more weighty. And it's one I mentioned in a recent haul, and that is The Tree of Death, Yomotsu Hegyue. Yomotsu Hegyue. Close? Maybe? No. Anyway, I'm calling it The Tree of Death like I did in my whole video because I'm terrible at pronouncing that. But yeah, this cover just struck me when I saw it at the manga store, and I was like, I have to see what this series is about. I mean, this like Cthulhu looking creature, it's giving dark, mythical, and supernatural vibes for sure. And yeah, so we begin our story with police officer Nawa Kanatsugu, who is just getting out of prison after losing everything when his wife and daughter were murdered. And now all that remains is his thirst for revenge and vengeance for his family. And he ends up, unbeknownst to him, in the midst of an endless war between the enigmatic and twisted Undying and Ren, a single Shinigami looking to restore death to the world. So it's definitely like a lot. And we're talking immortality, we're talking serial M-worders. I don't know how many times I can say that word, if at all, on YouTube. But yeah, and creepy people overall, people I say lightly, monsters. And this man, Kanetsugu, who we haven't really, by the end of this first volume anyway, found out how, but he has a ability to be essentially an undead, but with the ability to kill other undeads. So Ren is wary of him, and if he's going to lose his humanity to this Cthulhu type creature that is inside him, but is not altogether unhappy with the fact that this guy can help him take out these Undying, who seem to be a blight on the world and create monsters that just can't be killed, which includes the man who did that to his wife and child. He has eaten the fruit of immortality and is an Undying now. So yeah, it's very dark and twisted. It's very interesting. The art is very different from the others, very grotesque, very like detailed in some ways. So yeah, if you don't like that, obviously, like, you know, steer clear. But it's also really good and really gripping. And yeah, I also saw that this is complete at 3 volumes. Unlike the other one, I could see maybe how this could tie up in 3 volumes. But again, I'm hesitant, I'm skeptical, I'm only cautiously optimistic that this won't disappoint me. But yeah, the 3rd and final volume comes out in November. So I'm hoping to get the other 2 volumes and read them this year, or at least get the 2nd volume to read for October. But yeah, I think having a dark fantasy to read this time of year really appeals to me personally. So I definitely wanted to give a shout out to this one if anybody is interested in something different, because I really don't hear anyone talking about it. So yeah, I like to find titles that kind of fall under the radar sometimes. But if you have heard of it, then definitely let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. And I know I already talked about it already, so I won't be going into it that much, but I needed to shout out Gannibal, okay? Just one more time. Just, oh my god, like the 2nd volume is coming to me and I could not be more excited for it to like come this time of year. Like, it's perfect. Like, I'm surprised it didn't get pushed like 15 times like this first volume did, but I am happy. And if you did not watch my video of my favorite first volume reads of the first half of the year, which, you know, go check that one out if you want more recs, then this was my outlier. This was like, I had like soft vibes. Oh, and then, you know, possible cannibal murders. Just gonna throw that in there. But yeah, I really like this first volume. It's obviously a little thin, but there's so much going on in this first volume, and it really gives you a good look at this creepy rural small town, this new police officer and his family that have just moved in to take over for the previous police officer that has mysteriously disappeared, and the whispered about, rumored, cannibalistic group of people. And were they involved in this last police officer's disappearance? Mysteries abound. Definitely gives you those Deliverance vibes, if you know what I mean, but that very like you're on your own, surrounded by enemies in this very like creepy rural town, and it just gives you those sickening vibes, but it's done so well that it's a real page turner. Like, you just want to keep knowing what's happening. The townspeople are all weird and shady. You're not sure what to expect with them. And yeah, they're all run by this one family that might have ties to the rumored cannibalism. So yeah, I just, you know, obviously don't go into this if you don't want some very grim, very graphic, and very horrific vibes. But I mean, I'm one that wants my cozy fantasy and my creepy horror in the month of October. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of both, some options, if you will. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you saw something that perked your interest, or saw a title that you've also read and enjoyed and can gush about in the comments below. Or if you have any negative feelings, feel free, just keep it polite. And I hope you all have a lovely start to the spooky season. I'll see you back here next Monday for my September haul video, because September went really late and I had an extra Monday in September. And if you have any video ideas that you want me to talk about in October, let me know. I have a lot of ideas, but I'm not really sure which to go with. So yeah, any suggestions, any input is super appreciated. And yeah, until next time, bye!